Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 47 of season 2. And I am so grateful this morning for your consideration that you're spending these 7 minutes considering thoughts from the New Testament and the life of Jesus. Today we're going to shoot for the pleasure of God. That's going to be our end target. So we start with Monday of the Great Week. Jesus is coming back from Bethany, where he slept Sunday night, and is going into Jerusalem, and he sees this fig tree. He's hungry from the trip, and it's morning, and then he curses the fig tree. What a crazy story. I'm going to read it in 2 Gospels just for giggles. This is from Mark chapter 11, verse 12. On the following day, so that's Monday, when they came from Bethany, he was hungry. And seeing in the distance a fig tree in leaf, he went to see if he could find anything on it. And when he came to it, he found nothing but leaves, for it was not the season for figs. And he said to it, "May no one ever eat fruit from you again." And his disciples heard it. Same story in Matthew. Jesus curses the fig tree. Matthew 21, verse 18. In the morning, Monday morning, as he was returning to the city, so he slept in Bethany, going to Jerusalem, he became hungry. And seeing a fig tree by the wayside, he went to it and found nothing on it but only leaves. And he said to it, "May no fruit ever come from you again." And the fig tree withered at once. So let's think about this. I think this is a little bit of a confusing passage. And is it really about a tree? So we have to think about the context. So the context is Jesus is heading towards the temple. He's heading towards Jerusalem. He's heading towards the Great Week. And he's going to make some very severe judgments about people and things that he finds displeasurable to him. And apparently, he has some expectations. So he comes to this tree assuming that there will be growth, or at least a process, maybe ripe fruit, even though it's not the season for that. So if he's even green figs, so he's assessing metaphorically the process of growth and the accountability. So if it's not about a tree, it's about fruitfulness and real fruit, not apparent fruit, not leafiness. So he goes up to this tree and assesses it and looks past the leaves and looks carefully for fruit and doesn't see any fruit. So let's think about what this fruit may represent. So the fig tree, time and time again throughout Scripture, has represented Israel. A slightly more common reference would be to the vine. And it is a parallel to that, if you will, where the vine is supposed to have grapes and the fig tree is supposed to have figs. And apparently in this story, there's an expectation, if we think about it metaphorically, if Jesus is inspecting Israel, inspecting the heart of his people, he wants to see fruit at a certain point, or at least he wants to see growth and some early fruit. So was he pleased with this tree? Answer is no. He was disappointed. In fact, maybe even angry, and certainly we have to give him the due that these are his trees, that he wants fruit in his people, he wants fruit in his in Israel. So my judgment, let me just give you my first assessment, was, well, these knucklehead Israelites, of course they didn't have fruits, and that's why he had to come to save them and come to show them the way. And my casual assessment of myself is, well, I'm perfect. And, well, wait a minute. Maybe this is about me. So let's think about maybe this parable could be applied to us now, and how might we find benefit from it. So let's do that. Lord is a fruit inspector. Okay. Galatians 5:22 and 23, the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such things there is no law. Maybe those are the fruits that the Lord is looking for. Maybe growth in prayer, maybe growth in generosity, maybe growth in service, and maybe the time for growth is now. So I'm thinking about this as a meditation and with the goal of pleasing God. So let me go also to Philippians chapter 1. Philippians chapter 2, verse 12. Work out your salvation with fear and trembling. Work out your sanctification with fear and trembling. For it is God who works in you both to will and to work for his good pleasure. So God is working, and I'm supposed to be working at certain sanctification acts, if you will, fruit by the vernacular of this little study. So we're going to stand before God, and we want to be able to say, Lord, I have this fruit to show you. So maybe in your heart today, that's where I'm going to get to. I long to see this characteristic. Maybe it's self-control. Maybe it's patience. Maybe it's generosity. I want to see this growth area. I want to see growth in my prayer. I want to see growth in my fellowship. Well, the amazing thing about it is maybe God has a part even in that desire. So if you're sitting there listening to this podcast and say, Lord, I would like to be a better prayer. Well, maybe he's the one that's giving you that desire. Maybe he's working in you for his pleasure. It is God who works in you both to will, maybe this is your will, and to work, our effort, his effort, for his good pleasure. Maybe, Lord, you could be pleased by the growth in this area. So I long to see growth in this particular area. How would I like to please you, Lord? I would like to be able to offer this to you, this area of my life, this area of growth. So let's think today, as we conclude, what growth, what characteristic, what area of sanctification, if the Lord comes and inspects your tree, growth of that area might please him most? Prayer, fellowship, patience, or love. Think about this. Let's commit this area to him. Maybe he gave you the area. Maybe he raised it up in your heart here today. I thank you for being here. I will see you tomorrow.